Now that you've got the first couple of notes of your melody, it's time to sort of move out and around and see where you want to go from there. So let's say that you wanted to start on your 2 and then resolve down to your 1. Our limitation for this exercise is that we're going to stay within the key of C, so I'm going to pick melody notes from C to C, and our left hand is going to pick the chords that are built on the C scale. So that's our limitation. We like limitations because they make it a little less overwhelming when we're first trying to write a song, and so limitations are a good thing. They just sort of rein you in a little bit. So let's say I want to start on my 2 and resolve to the 1. And then I'm just going to experiment, I'm going to improvise a little bit, and I come up with this melody. So here's my melody. Now maybe I'd like to stay on the C chord for this C, but maybe I would like to move to another chord. So let's try a few. This C is in the C chord, but it's also in some other of the chords. Let's see which ones. Okay, so it's also in the 4 chord or the F chord. Let's try it that way. Okay, let's try seeing what other chords in this scale has a C, and it's the 6. The 6 is always a minor, as you will remember from part 1 of this video. So another choice that I have is to go to the A minor. Okay, so I know that the C chord, the F, and the A minor are all safe to play with the C because the C is in those chords, and if the C is in the chords, it's safe to play them. You know that it's going to sound good. But let's just try some other chords from the scale and just see how they sound. Alright, so I see that the minor 2 also sounded good with it. And that is because this C would be part of the D minor 7th chord. If you haven't learned about 7ths yet, 7ths are studied more in books 3 and 4 in the Upper Hands Piano series. So if you haven't learned about 7ths, it may not be as apparent to you, but still, even if you don't know sort of academically why it works, your ear can still tell you that it sounds good. Okay, now this time I'm going to try going to the 3 chord, which is also a minor. Doesn't sound so good. Alright, so I probably wouldn't pick that one. Alright, going to the 5 chord also. Didn't sound so good. And the 7, not so great. So it looks like we had some choices. Going to the minor 2. Staying on the 1. Going to the minor 6. So we have the 4, the minor 6, the 1, and the minor 2. Those all sounded good. Okay, let me try a different melody. Maybe instead of starting on the 2, I'll start on the 3. Alright, so I've got... Now it feels to me like I want to change chords with that note. Alright, so the minor 2 worked because that note is in the minor 2, so we know that works. Okay, so that time I went to the minor 3. Now that might have sounded a little dissonant, but after the A I played a G, so it kind of worked to be dissonant and then to resolve to a note that worked in the E minor. Alright, let's try the 4 now. Alright, so both this and this worked for the 4 chord. So if you think about the 4 chord, it's got an A in the middle, and also the G doesn't sound bad. That would be like a 2 in an F chord. So it sounded good too. Once again, you don't have to know why, but you can just play it and let your ear tell you whether it's something that you're liking the sound of. Alright, going to the 5 also worked. That one's a little dissonant, but it resolved to a G, which sounded great. Definitely worked on the 6. Works okay on the 7th as well. So just try moving around with your melody. You can let your melody guide you, or you can let your chords guide you. Let's say you've already decided that you want to go from the 1 to the minor 2 to the 4 back to the 1. Alright, and then maybe you start by constructing a melody that fits to those chords. So you're starting with the chords. Okay, so I just improvised a little bit to those chords, the 1, the minor 2, to the 4, to the 1. In our next video we're going to talk about song structure. What I was playing would probably be thought of as the verse if this was a popular piece. And there's also something called a bridge, and there's also something called a chorus. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in our next video, which is about lyrics. Alright, thanks so much for watching. Bye!